Well, I hope y'all will forgive me for not canning these videos. I mean, realistically, when I was considering this project, I had played with the notion of, was a neutral. I had played with the notion of doing all the videos in one shot and having 7 different subjects and then releasing them in sequential order. You know, just having them all in the bag. Which, I mean, that's not a bad plan for a YouTube channel if you're looking to put out consistent content. But I mean, this obviously isn't about consistent content, nor is it about gaining fame or success. This is about me just, talking with my buds who've been on here with me for a while. And thank you so much for the comments at this point. It's been really great. This video tonight is about so-called experts, and I was inspired by this by a comment from David Page on my Carrying -1 video. And he made an excellent point about doing things such as adjusting your rounds count. I believe P226 Nut Channel mentioned the trigger reset, which is so magnified seemingly on the Glock, something that an instructor can show you, be like, oh, look at that, and it seems profound, but in reality, in some cases, is meaningless. Now, that isn't to say that knowing your trigger reset is meaningless, but in some cases, it certainly is. And P226 Nut makes an excellent point about how it's kind of a silly thing to fixate upon. Now, the other point that I was going to make about so-called experts has to do with their experience. So, take myself, for example. Never been in combat, never been in any sort of like an armed altercation. Here I am running my mouth about the number of rounds that you should or should not put in your magazine. And David Page, who is the way he makes a living has to do with that as one of the tools of his trade, certainly knows much more about the subject than I would directly. There are, however, other experts. I believe Massad Ayoob, who, man, I mean, famous gunfighting expert. Rumor has it, and I don't think this has changed, has never actually been in a gunfight. Now, with that in mind, is having been in a gunfight a requirement to have an expertise in a task? I would say not necessarily, because when something is armchair quarterbacked, it's criticized when people do that. Armchair quarterback meaning, you look and you critique something that has happened after the fact. Sometimes an outsider's point of view can be a more magnified dimension of the moving parts of an event, and a person of no direct experience can have a higher level of expertise in some cases than a person who's had plenty of experience. And I'm not saying that's not me towards David Page in the least. Please don't misunderstand me for a moment, and that's not even what I mean. My point has to do is, ain't it a funny old world? I'll catch y'all tomorrow.